Hey, welcome to the motherfucking podcast, y'all.
Yeah, I got a theory about how different accents got invented, you know? Like the...
Here you come, northerner coming down here to tell us how things are, eh?
I'm not even going to start with the southern accent. I'm going to start with the harsh Midwestern, you know, Rust Belt, Boston, Pennsylvania type area accent, you know, where you're talking like this. And I think it's from shouting across the factory, whether you're refining coal or you're making car parts, whatever you're doing, there's loud machinery around you, and you gotta talk in a certain way so that you're understood.
That's
what? Like the Rust Belt.
Belt.
Pennsylvania, Boston, you know, all the way over to like Michigan.
No. The Rust Belt is...
Boston is...
The Rust Belt is Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and I think Detroit.
Yeah, but that whole
like
area.
Triangle or something.
Yeah,
it's factory, you know, factories, and people said that there's a Pittsburgh accent, but I never knew how to do it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of you're just
Buffalo
like,
for sure. Buffalo's got a little bit of, hey, welcome to Western New York.
Yeah.
You're not in New York anymore. You're in Western New York. It's a little bit of a, you betcha.
It's a little bit of Vermont.
A little Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I heard there was trouble down there at the old factory. Bob and I got into a fight, but then we hashed it out over a couple of brews. See how the Cubbies are doing.
Good. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I feel like as soon as I packed this Zyn spearmint nicotine pouch in my upper lip, I felt it really natural to just start talking a little bit like I'll have a little draw, you know. And so my theory is that people that are predisposed to packing fat lips have a little bit of a talk like this. And quite frankly, I like it. I like the diversity more.
Yeah.
I don't want everybody talking the same. You know, there's a certain word for it. I'm not sure what it is, but there's a certain word for it, and it's for newscasters and people that are on nationwide channels. They train all the newscasters and broadcasters to speak in a kind of way of speaking that we would call like the newscaster way of speaking. But to them, what it is it's no distinct dialect, no distinct geography. It's hi, welcome to the podcast. We are happily brought to you. I stumbled on happily.
Yeah, Monica, that's really funny.
Well, that's great, Bob. What's the way? You know, that kind of thing. And there's a term for it, and I forget what the term is, but yeah, I can see how packing one of these spearmint lips in this here mouth can all of a sudden make you prone to start talking this way.
To me, those newscaster accents sound like Arizona.
Yeah, well, Arizona, really? No,
yeah.
Arizona's got a little bit. It's like we're kind of a little bit like Texas.
You're thinking of Utah.
Arizona
is really, it's like if you took the parents of Silicon Valley, you know, they're all hanging out in Phoenix, Arizona. I heard a kid from Arizona say oxygen.
Oxygen.
Who do you know that talks
Daddy,
like...
can we have some more oxygen in here, please?
Yeah, all those Arizona family annihilators.
Have you seen the ads for the masks that like they're like face shields, but it looks like basically you have like a Halo helmet on, except not as cool?
I have not.
Yeah, they're trying to sell these active shields and like make it look cool. Like, look at this guy. He's serious about his fitness, even when he has to wear a mask that looks like he's in a sci-fi dystopia. Like, you know, this like American Apparel looking guy wearing a face shield. I got my Vinta face shield and I look cool. Imagine like they're going to start having commercials like this where they have like young, you know, hot kind of androgynous thin kids with face shields like going to meet at a bar. It's gonna be like, life's crazy when you're living in the city. But thankfully to my Vinta face shield, that I could feel safe while I'm going about my life. And they're like, oh, hey, Brad's here. And they're all like having beers and laughing. But really, it's just a fake, shallow facade to cover up the fucking servitude that we find ourselves in. Snack mask.
What?
There's a mask that you can put snacks in.
And it looks like you have a huge penis for a nose.
Yeah, you got a dick nose.
If you got
hey,
a
get the dick
schlong,
nose mask.
if you got a schlong
I think
between
this is
your
a joke, but but the other one's definitely not a joke. Yeah, I mean it's just you know, what are you gonna do? We live in a cesspool of a place.
Yeah. Good old big old cesspool.
That's another good part of having a dip in your mouth, packing a lippa, is hey, I got a fucking lippa in my mouth, kid. Boston, that's Boston. That after you talk, you could just say, "Yep, yep."
I mean, I think you're confusing the whole spitting part of it. You know,
Yep.
because that's what the whole "yup."
Yeah, true.
You know, "yup," ding, because it hits the little spittoon can.
Yeah.
They get good at spitting.
Yeah.
Them country boys, they're really good spitters.
Yeah. They could really zing a bucket. They could really zing a pail. They probably have contests like that, right? They probably sit around like, all right, first one that makes is a sound that's louder than the last is the winner. And they're like, ting.
First one that makes a sound loud enough to wake up that sleepy old cat, them's the winner.
And by sleepy old cat, I mean my bitch wife. She cooked me a goddamn good meal for pastime fortnight.
She ain't cooked me a good goddamn meal in 33 years.
Come here, boy. Rest your. And then there's the New Orleans one, but it's like more like New Orleans. So you're kind of more like, hey, I got a fishing boat and I got some crab and we're gonna go catch it.
I really like New Orleans people.
New Orleans people.
I can party with New Orleans people.
Come on, rest your weary head, boy. Into some of New Orleans crab country. Come on down here and fuck my wife.
Exactly. They got long hair. They let me fuck their wife. You know, they got good seafood.
I'm just a basic New Orleans lawyer, but at the end of the day, I gotta go home and fuck my wife, and you know that's tiring for a New Orleans prosecutor. So I hired a boy from hireaboy.com to come and fuck my.
Yeah, it'd be a website called poolboys.com.
Come and have sex with my hot steaming New Orleans wife. You got she's got a special spray she's gonna spray in the bedroom. It's gonna make it smell like I'm there. It's gonna be a poor boy sandwich spray. We're gonna have a shrimp spray, of course.
But don't worry, we're gonna serve you a shrimp po' boy afterwards.
And a gumbo spray. The gumbo spray is gonna be in her face, if you know what I mean. So go to hireaboy.com.
Go to poolboys.com.
Hey, has your hired a boy gotten into a legal trouble? Well, hire me to defend your hire a boy. He's working all angles of it.
Yeah.
Say your boy comes over and fucks your wife at night after you've been working all day to provide a nice life for your family, and the cat chews his balls off by accident, of course. If you find yourself in this situation, call my office and we will defend your hire boy.
Call the law office as a Herbert Hubbard Huberson.
Yeah, my name is Herbert Hubbard Huberson. Now, see here now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's all kinds of things really going on in the wide world here. And, you know, apparently, like you said, if you could think of it, there's a porn for it. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's porn for that. It's called cuckold porn.
Yeah, all kinds.
Yeah.
It's one of the more popular ones.
I've been noticing a lot, and I'm trying not to do the porn thing too much, even though it is, you know, I look at it just like fast food. Remember we got Taco Bell last week? Yeah. Taco Bell's delicious and disgusting at the same time. It's not food. You're not eating food. but what you're doing is you're just getting
Mouth porn.
mouth porn. You are just getting porn right in your mouth. And that's important. I think that's a big part of foodie culture and whatnot. But so anyway, porn is like that. Porn's like fast food.
Just hits your sensors.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this is like trash, but this is good at the same time. But like, oh, but then I kind of feel gross afterwards. So I'm surprised at how many there's like a lot of like family incest type porns. There's a lot of like daddy, stepdaddy, I banged my stepdaughter. I'm noticing a lot of step stuff.
Well, you're noticing it more because I read some article that it's been rising lately during the pandemic. All this
Interesting.
Like,
oh my God, that is. Everybody's home and they're just like, all right, there's a goddamn pandemic now.
Yeah.
There's a goddamn nice save there, boy.
Who am I around? Yeah.
There's a goddamn pandemic there.
Probably less office porn.
Yeah, but I mean, so they're like, so there's a pandemic, so there's more family incest porn. So that means people are sitting around going, oh man, well, these are the only people I see. I kind of want to fuck them. I kind of want to fuck I want to fuck my kids.
Yeah,
I want to fuck my kids' friends.
Well, yeah, it's just like the taboo stuff because like in the South where like they're supposedly like, less friendly to like black people, the most popular porn category down there is ebony.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And like, yeah, and over in like, I think
ebony and ivory.
Yeah. I think over in I could be misquoting this, but I'm pretty sure like over in those really religious states in like the West, like Idaho and Utah, with all those Mormons there, they're really big into like lesbian porn, because it's still kind of taboo to be gay out there.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, I think
lesbian porn is very different than being a lesbian.
Yeah.
Lesbian porn is more like a male fantasy thing of like two hot women that are just getting it on, and like sometimes they'll bring a guy in too. But it seems like for the most part, most lesbians that I know are kind of more like me than they are like this like supermodel that just wants to eat some snatch.
Yeah.
Snatch sandwich.
Just hanging out with their friends, like, ooh, take your panties off. Like, no, that doesn't happen.
Well, I think girls go through that phase. Like, I was talking to Jenna the other day about this, and she's like, yeah, kind of in college, like make out with some of my girlfriends. And I'm like, I was just thinking like how weird it would be if I was like, yeah, me too, college, a couple of my friends who just blew each other. That was college, But I don't know, like, does that happen? I think in my estimation, it happens way more on the female side of things, where it's like, oh yeah, I got drunk and kissed some girl or whatever. Maybe it's some frat party insinuated bullshit, but that's not, you don't really hear many guys being like, yeah, I made out with my friend one night.
I mean, one time when I was 15, like we were, about Omegle?
Omegle.
Have you heard of chat roulette?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's same idea, but less dicks. Well, now there's more dicks, but back when it was fewer.
Now with more dicks. Tonight at 9. More dicks on the news.
Omegle was pretty much just advertised as like chat roulette, but with less penises, But anyway, the whole premise for those of you who don't know is just like you just press a button and you're video chatting with somebody random, and then you can type, but there's no. Sometimes there's sound, but usually you're typing. Anyway, yeah, fucking just one night I was like 14 or 15, just chilling with my dudes.
That pen hit hard. 1 second.
Yeah,
I want to pay attention to what you're saying. I think I have it on like the highest setting.
Yeah, don't do that till the end. Put it on the lowest setting. For like
These Colorado vape pens. Come out to the Rocky Mountains. Get yourself a.
Doing anything in your stomach?
Come out to the Rocky Mountains and get yourself a nice high with a smooth Colorado buzz from Verde Natural. That's one guy I wish I could just have his voice more often. Sam Elliott. Taste the Rockies, Coors, banquet beer. Now we got weed, so you can be paranoid in your home, thinking the government's coming to kill you.
I mean, they are.
They're coming to kill you, folks.
No. You're worth more money alive than dead. Anyway,
all right, so you were with your boys when you were 15.
I was with my boys. We were
and
15,
you're playing
we're on
this like Omegle thing.
Omegle is just you press a button, you're on a video chat with somebody random. We're 15. Hopefully, it's a girl who's like 16, right?
That's what you're hoping for.
We're scrolling for tits, basically. We're just hopefully we're gonna find some girl, make her laugh, see some tits. That's how it goes. Dang, you're fucking passed out.
No, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm really high.
So we convinced this girl, be like, okay, if we make out, you'll show us your tits, and it was the deal, and it fucking worked.
You made out with your friend?
I just had to make out with my friend for like a couple seconds.
With tongue?
He just put his tongue in there to be funny, because he was just a freaky bastard, so he's just going over the top.
Ugh.
No, it's just like fucking sticking your tongue straight into my mouth.
Yeah.
But wild shit you do when you're 15 before you got liquor or weed, Arguably, I feel like liquor and weed have stopped a lot of terrible things from happening.
Didn't something like that happen in like American Pie? Like one of those American Pie movies? They're like, if you two make out, then we'll show you our tits.
Sounds like it.
That was such a high accomplishment in those days. It was like, oh my God, I saw her tits. And then
wow.
I was just telling a story the other day about getting to second base. Like my friends would be like, so what happened with Melissa? Like, oh yeah, I sucked her tits.
Yeah.
That was like a big accomplishment, was to brag about sucking tits.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice.
Yeah, it's just like a dumb American, like, compartmentalized thing,
like 2010. Before, I feel like the whole gay culture shook that up, because they were like, what's gay second base,
gay people know how to fucking have fun, man. These people are out, like, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows how to have fun to a certain degree, but I think there's something about like when I was living in New York, there was something about the gay club that was sort of iconic for New York City, Lower Manhattan. And I don't know, because I haven't been to one, and I can't remember how long, but I'm pretty sure that there was more of like that kind of gay club, sort of nightclub scene, a lot of like, people dressed in very like flamboyant outfits and very like big colors and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's kind of faded away to a certain degree. I feel like people everybody sort of dresses very similar now, and it's just not. So anyway, I think more in the 80s, early 90s, there was more of that culture. But
even more recent than that, like 9 times out of 10, when I went to a club when I was like 18 to 22, I was fucking going to a gay club, bringing some girl and a couple of my boys, like I'm, and just so I could wear some fancy fucking jacket, and like
they like served you alcohol there.
I mean, yeah, usually.
Yeah. Because I think there is something to be said about the spirit of like hedonistic rebellion.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, like the same energy that the gay clubs had in like the 80s and early 90s and stuff and maybe even into the 2000s, we're more in that spirit of like, well, this isn't really like an approved thing. Like we're not really, society doesn't really fully accept us. So we're going to like let loose and go wild and just live our lives to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I think you feel that too when you're like a teenager and you're like rebelling and you're trying to do all this like cool stuff. But then there's a certain point where it sort of like evens out and you're just this like boring normal adult
who's just in a gay marriage smoking legal weed, It's just like, instead of like,
that's what Milo Yiannopoulos used to make. He used to say that like And I think even Tim Dillon makes this point too. It's that like there's something boring about normal life. And the thing that was attractive about gay culture was that it was like this rebellious kind of fuck you energy and this live it up like there's no tomorrow kind of attitude.
Yeah, same thing with weed culture.
Yeah, and then the more that things become like accepted and approved and sort of homogenized, is that the right word? Homogenized? Yeah. It brings out this like mass standard kind of vanilla wafer, you know, just cracker, cookie cutter kind of existence, which is fine, I guess. But we lose something in the process, which is some kind of spirit and energy.
Yeah, dude,
you know?
I miss the relationship that I used to have with the people that I sold weed to. It was so like just pure, and sometimes the girls wanted to fuck me, and it was like just sometimes I was just chilling with my homies, you know, and
sometimes you made a new friend.
Exactly. Sometimes I would like make a new friend, and then I just go over there and we'd chill out, and I'd check out his cool ass keyboard.
You'd be like, well, now that you're here, would you like to fuck my wife? And that's how you started hireaboy.com.
Yep. Poolboys.com.
Poolboys.com.
Hireboy is the competitor. We're trying to put him out of business.
Would you just hire the damn boy? He's a good boy. He's a clean boy.
That'd be a convincing advertisement.
There's a great sketch from Saturday Night Live called The Hurley Boy, and it's Chris Farley and Adam Sandler.
Oh, I love Chris
and the camera
Farley.
is just zoomed in on Chris Farley, and he's like, or Adam Sandler, and he's like, hey, can I watch your house for you when you're gone? Please. Can I watch your house for you when you go away? And then it like pans over to Chris Farley, and he's wearing a sweater, and he's like, he's a good boy. Let him watch your house. And like, here, let's play it. All right, so yeah, we just took a break to watch a couple of Chris Farley clips. But anyway, you were saying you missed the interaction that you would have as a weed dealer, meeting people.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'd be a girl that would be interested.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, just like meeting people, hanging out with them. You know, like once you get to a certain level, like it's nice to be established and not growing. You know, I'm not taking like the old business model where you got to keep growing. Once you get established, you can just have a set number of customers and you know them all personally.
yeah, you just coast.
Minimize your risk. You know, get it. Sometimes it gets pretty regular with the customers. You're like, oh, like I bet, you know, she's running out of weed. You know, they're probably gonna call me up soon. I better get their eighth ready. You know, and then every now and again you get somebody that like buy a bunch, and that'd be easier for you. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the mom and pop shop mentality.
Exactly.
I love that. You know, when I think about like the kind of place where I would love to live would be like a place where there'd be a lot of independent, personally owned and operated shops where people are making a lot of interesting and cool things, and you know, you just develop a relationship with people.
Yeah.
And that means so much more because there's something really impersonal about just like clicking a button on Amazon and having it be delivered to you, or going into a weed shop. And I mean, maybe you can establish a relationship with like the workers of the weed shop. I mean, that's,
yeah, but
you
like
know.
You're behind a barrier and you're in line
It's
with
true.
100
It's
other people.
very formalized.
Yeah.
It's, you can't like sit down and like smoke a joint and be like, yeah, this is some good, I'll take an eighth of this. And,
Yeah, I miss smoking a joint with my old weed man. You know, after weed got like legalized in Michigan, I was still going to a weed man, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, it was cool. And he kind of did it professional. Like he got like a glass case and he had like everything, but that was just because he wanted to put all the other weed men out of business in the area. You know, he was a good businessman.
Yeah.
You know,
I used to love the place I got from in New York was expensive as hell. I think it was like $80 for an eighth, or $75 for an eighth.
Damn.
Where out here it's like 30.
Yeah.
But like I used to love, like I'd hit them up on Wicker. It was like a company.
Yeah.
They would always send someone else. Sometimes the same person would come. Be like, oh yeah, man, like I got like these, I got this, I got that, and tell you a little bit about it. I don't know. It's just it was nice, but it was also that's how it operates in New York, is weed delivery. Like there's just these like delivery services, and if you get wind of a good delivery service, then you're getting like some good stuff, but you're paying a lot for it.
Yeah.
But it's something in between being able to go into a store and buy it and have it be legal, and just above like someone coming to your house and you're smoking, like somewhere in that middle ground, like you have a shop and it's like a co-op, and it's like, maybe like 20 people are part owners in it, and you all just like hang out there and smoke there, and you grow there, and people that are doing other things just do other things, and they come and they buy weed from you guys and stuff, and
Yeah, I'd like some kind of like upper limit on like how much money you can make or something like that. Like not, if you have a good year, that's fine, but like maybe in like a 5-year period, you can't make more than like this, because we don't want like huge companies doing it. I would love it
after a certain amount of money that you make, then that money has to go into like new developments and like entrepreneurs and like innovation, like an incubator kind of thing.
Just like make the highest tax bracket like over like a certain amount of profit in the weed industry, just like super high, like 75%, so that most people
that their money has to go to new weed operations, new grows, or all like back into their industry to help schools, like people coming up. That's what I'm saying.
We could put the money into the schools. Think about it.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, you can always put money into schools, but there's something that can be done about that separately. But I think there's there's incentive for people in the weed industry to like, it's like, hey man, like we're gonna help you because there was someone there, much like stand up or the podcast industry.
Yeah,
a lot of people, like a lot of people are like kind and help other people out. Like, hey, can you repost this podcast I did, or stuff like that, and or invite you on their shows and things. So it's like, it's more collaborative, is what I'm saying. I think like a more collaborative type of effort could be achieved where we don't have like massive companies that are taking advantage.
Where we don't
have
like Canopy's IPO with all these like big hedge funds trying to like buy stock.
Well, yeah, you want to prevent people who want to get in this industry as a cash grab. I think that's the thing with psychedelics too, is that we want to see psychedelic healing go to the masses. We want to see psychedelic therapy be available and affordable and all that kind of stuff, and also just to decriminalize psychedelics across the board. Like, let people use them, let people experiment with their consciousness and do whatever they want to do, as long as they're not hurting anyone else. And it doesn't need to be like, you can only have 2 plants, or things like that. It's like, no, you could just do whatever you want to do, and
it makes people smarter. If people are like leading their own expedition, it makes them smarter, as opposed to all these legal weed stores.
It makes them empowered.
Well, it makes
they're
them
empowered. They know, they have the information, they have the knowledge. But then for the people that don't have the time to do that stuff, you can still get it, you can still buy it. But there's, you don't want to have people getting in the industry that are just in it to make money.
Yeah.
You want to have people that care about cannabis, care about mushrooms, care about LSD, care about ayahuasca, like people that care about these things, that are there because they care about it, and the benefit of it is that they get to earn and make a living, and they get to enjoy life and stuff like that. But you don't want like all these people like, oh, like psychedelics is big now, we want to invest, like it's a big cash grab, like board of directors, IPOs, like all this stuff.
Sounds like a hot field.
Yeah, it's like you don't want non-psychedelic people really getting into it with the control, the operations, like at the top, because you want people that really love it, there. And I think that's one of the problems that we have to figure out how to solve.
Yeah, I don't really like how a lot of people just kind of take this fatalistic viewpoint where they're like, oh, well, if it's going to get big and acceptable, it's got to be corporatized, it's got to be monetized, it's got to be turned into a product and advertised. And
yeah, I think there's a certain like, there's something cool about the fact that like, yeah, you can fucking make billions of dollars and have an island and all that. So like, that's really cool. But there's also like something about the fact that like, not all of us are going to do that, nor should we aspire to do that. That's why, like, going through school and everything, it was like, you have to do something that makes money. You have to do something that makes money. You have to do something that makes money. And when we tell people that they have to do things to make money, then their hearts aren't in it. Then it becomes shitty. And then we have depression and shitty problems and, violence and people angry and, just a bunch of bullshit. And people like wanting, like, oh, I want that politician because he's going to write a law that's going to tell you what to do because I'm disempowered and I'm going to feel somewhat empowered. And, it's just like people just got to be empowered to live their lives on their own terms. And we got to think of better ways to support each other because we're headed to fucking cyberpunk dystopia.
Yeah, since people are not empowered in their own lives, they're trying to take power over other people's lives by proxy of oh, this is the law, so you got to do it. Or like, oh, this politician's going to show you and they're going to make you do this. And they just really want to be able to walk around on their back lawn naked. That's all they really want.
Well, because we're all separate. We're all isolated. The one mentality that I see infecting every area of the next generation that's coming up, or we're changing things. It's to a certain extent, but there's always going to be the new, the people that are big into investing into cryptos and the crypto market and all this stuff. That's just the new Wall Street. Mm-hmm. That's just the new finance people. It's not like, oh, Occupy Wall Street, we defeated the 1% and all. It's just there's a new 1%. And it's just that's why I said cyberpunk, is because it sounds like we're headed in that direction of high technology and then very low quality of life in comparison.
Yeah. Cyberpunk is really enticing because it shows a realistic progression where there's people with low means, but they have little pieces of modern technology, and it really represents what we're seeing with people who live in mud shacks, but they have AKs and cell phones.
Well, yeah, I mean it's just in the exactly. Most people have smartphones nowadays. Mm-hmm. Even when I was at the ayahuasca retreat center, the healers, they have iPhones and they love them. So there's a really cool, the way that we have to progress as a civilization. DOSADELIC, the serious episode. The way that we have to progress as a civilization is to consistently keep up our consciousness evolution, our spiritual evolution, our being just good, decent people, being nice to each other, respecting each other, not being fearful, paranoid, that kind of thing with other people. We have to measure that with the level of our technological development, because if we don't, where we're at right now is our technological development far supersedes where we're at a ego, materialist consciousness level.
Yeah.
And we just have to keep that in check, because Michio Kaku, the theoretical physicist, talks about how there's all these type civilizations, and we're a type 0 civilization. A type 1 civilization is one that unites the entire planet and is starting to move into space. Mm-hmm. And he's I think Nick Bostrom in his book Superintelligence talks about the Fermi paradox. He's to go from a type 0 to a type 1 is very hairy, because there's the potential threat of us blowing ourselves up because the technology far supersedes the level of consciousness able to wield that kind of powerful technology. So that's why there's we haven't come in contact with intelligent life, is because one of the reasons is because there's no civilizations that have advanced that want to contact us, because they've all blown themselves up. Or then he gives other examples.
Well, what's the type 0?
We're a type 0 civilization.
What is a type 0? You said said what a type 1 is.
Yeah, I think type 0 is what we are now. We're global in a sense, but we're there's still
infighting.
Yeah, there's still we're not totally united as a whole. A type 1 civilization is this is the planet Earth. We are Earthlings, and we are going into space. It's kind of a Star Trek kind of situation. Mm-hmm. So we're still separate and divided and stuff. And then they say that so there's people that I think that think, okay, to get us to that level, to start being exploring the solar system or whatever, that we just have to advance our technology, and we have to just the people that are just poor and whatever, they'll just die, and the people that are of means and are educated will just keep inventing new shit, and we'll just go on, and who cares about them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's just like a very strong belief. There's always these talks of like I saw Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan recently, and I had a notification on YouTube, or not a notification, but a recommendation to like watch.
You mean Spotify? They moved over now.
No, it was actually on YouTube because it was a clip.
Oh, okay.
It was watch this clip or whatever on YouTube, and it was a clip of Elon Musk talks about colonizing the galaxy, and I was like, all right, dude, like that's cool and everything, but like, how about we give people like food and shelter? Like,
oh yeah.
How about we like to, there's a cool element of that, like looking into the future and AI and robotics and cyborgs and like space and colonizing the galaxy and the moon and Mars, and it's like, all right, why don't we fucking take care of people?
Well, I mean, that's kind of out of context because he was just talking about like having a civilization that eventually would colonize the galaxy as opposed to collapsing in on itself and destroying itself.
Yeah.
He's like one or the other. We're either going to like, exhaust the Earth's resources, just fighting with each other and, destroying each other, or we're going to help each other out and then move over to other planets and then eventually colonize the galaxy. So he's kind of for that, like
it's fucking cold in here now, isn't it?
It's getting cold, but I was in
it's like -6 in Denver.
Listen, I was in a 40-degree office all day. It was so cold that the toilet was frozen.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's how cold it was in there? They don't have any heat on?
There's like a little bit of heat somewhere, but most of the heat in my part of the building is space heater. So I got to walk across the building to a toilet with liquid water.
Hireapoolboy.com.
Yeah, I got to hire a pool boy to come and fucking...
No, that's where you work.
Oh, right, yeah, at the Hire a Pool Boy headquarters. We're just shipping boys out. We box them up and tape them there and give them a little snack. We give them chocolate. You don't want to give them chips or anything. You just give them chocolate. If you're shipping people, that's all you give them. Keeps them a little bit constipated, so they're not shitting in the box.
Yeah.
But they get all their nutrients. So that's how you ship people. Anyway,
I was just thinking of this idea of like shipping synthetic like android humans. Like that's where things are headed. Like that cyberpunk thing.
Do that.
People are it'll be like, the pandemic has taken over the world. Like no one's allowed outside ever again. And it's like, don't worry, you can like ship your friends like to your place, and you'll like ship these like android, type human things in boxes. You'll like program them, and then you'll like plug into VR so your friends can go into VR and like suit up into them, and it'll be like they're there with you.
Yeah,
and and it'll be that'll be the thing.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because like I feel like the way it's heading, people are going to get like an animatronic like housemaid that they can fuck.
Probably, yeah.
Like, and another interesting layer
because it's a controllable environment. Us humans, we think too much. We're too, creative. We have a lot of amazing powers. So when we get together, it's unpredictable that what we can create and what will occur.
Yeah.
But to have a controlled, data mined and fed back to us like perfectly bubble insulated environment, that's. Those are going to fly off the shelves.
But we're always going to run into problems like using these like perfect environments with our imperfect selves.
Of course.
Like one of the things that I was just thinking about while we were talking about this is like if you have this like robot house servant, and it's like, it's in the future where people just have robot house servants that they fuck, and they're designing them for people who are submissive because it's easy to design it for a dominant person.
Matthew, I'm sorry. Cum bucket overload. Cum bucket is overloaded. You must empty. Please empty. Empty cum bucket. And you just have to like press a button and this like tray comes out and it's just like all your old jizz. There's like mutated babies like father. And then you have to like take some spray and just like singe them away and
just some acid.
Yeah, you have to. There's like special recycling bins for your robot semen, and people like you see your neighbor like walking out in his bathrobe like to empty just that. It's just like a huge bag, and it's like all that.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this. If it's like going to be normal for people to have robot fuck servants, there's going to be women with robot fuck servants.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So there's going to be some, like
there'll be no purpose for us.
There'd be some, but think about this. There's going to be some robot dude walking around with a big stiffy, right? But
robot
women
cock.
don't normally like to come on to dudes. They kind of prefer it if dudes come on to, generally speaking.
This is how it's going to be. But I have exactly how it's going to be.
You know where I'm going with this?
I know where you're going with this. There's just going to be a cyborg robot android dude with a 100 different mod option dick that you can program for any setting, any spot, G spot, A spot, Q spot, whatever spot. And like simultaneous clitoral action, all this stuff. But they'll still want us around because we'll like talk about their day, and we'll go like hikes with them and stuff. But then they'll just come home and be like, "All right, I'm going to be with the robot tonight," and they press the button. It's like engage pound mode, and you're just like in the other room, like reading a book.
Yeah,
just hearing like, and she's like, "Ah!" You're like, thanks, Amazon. Amazon Carl, go to sleep. Amazon Carl, I said, go to sleep. He's like, I'm still fucking your wife. Would you like me to pull up some facts on the internet about that?
Facts about fucking your wife.
I just tweeted 72 pictures of me fucking your wife.
Yeah, but think about it. There's going to be
she had the greatest orgasm she's ever had in her entire life.
There's going to be submissive women who are going to want Amazon Carl to come on to them, so they're going to have to program.
Hey, Amazon Carl,
a fucking way for be like, hey, sweetie, you're looking awfully beautiful. Let me touch that fat ass.
I know that you had a hard day. Let me rub that spot behind your ears that makes you go cray, cray.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby, do you like that? Yeah, Amazon Carl, I had such a... And then, I come in and I'm just like, oh, man, I'm so fucking high. What's for dinner tonight? And she's like, I'm with Carl. She's like, go to your room. It's like... He's like, program intruder alert. Destroy. She's like, no. He's
coming in pushing you away, but he's still rock hard.
She's like, don't go into destroy mode, just go into stun mode. Entering stun mode. Should I shock him with a phaser? And I'm like, no, dude, don't. Robot dude.
Oh man.
That's the future, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
and then I just go in the room and I lug my android slut from under the bed, and bring her up, and she's all like, "How was your day today?" And I was like, my wife, is it Carl again? I'm like, all right, yeah, can we do doggy? That's the future, man.
Yeah,
living together in our own robot worlds, and then taking it out on each other.
I mean, it's gonna be nice to be one of those rebellious old guys that still fucks real women, because there's gonna be stricter and stricter laws about having real sex with real people, and eventually it's gonna be the law that you can't have unrecorded sex. You have to record every sexual encounter.
Every sexual encounter is recorded and sent to Amazon.
Yeah,
headquarters.
Yeah. Right, for a review of any misconduct. Yeah, so that's what they're going to do, and it's going to be to push Amazon sales of the fuckbots, because it's just going to be the safer method, People are going to be nervous about, doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, COVID-26 is going to keep everybody inside, and they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to, Yeah. So I heard a story about a guy who was dating a girl, and then he's going on dates, I guess Tinder or whatever, and the girl was like, oh, have you been seeing anybody else? And he's like, yeah, I've been going on some dates. And she's like, have you kissed anyone? And he said, yeah. And she kind of freaked out because of COVID and everything, and you can't do that and blah, blah, blah. And I get it, but it's also it really, it takes away from that sort of kind of free flowing attitude. And it's where I feel like now we're going to be entering a different way of living, where people are going to be, it's going to be completely comfortable and normal for you to like on your dating profile have like your health record or something.
Yeah.
You know, like disease free, COVID free, just tested negative.
You know, and the date that you got tested, like 10/19/26.
Yeah, and then people will just be totally fine with that, you know, because it's like as long as it's safe and I can still show my ass.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all the Instagram photos I look at. I gotta stop with that too. It's just like nonstop Instagram scrolling,
dude. That is the one main thing that.
And I'm not looking at like, I'm not reading books. I'm not fucking, bettering myself or anything. I'm just dying on the microphone right now. I'm just scrolling and looking at like 20-year-old girls like posting their TikTok videos who are just like incredibly hot. And it is just really a distraction.
Dude, yeah, for some reason, just like, I don't know why, just like scrolling through hot girls on Instagram just gets me really depressed. And like I had to really cut that out.
I think it might. Do you think that might be leading to my depression?
It definitely did it for me, dude. I noticed like a big correlation, and like correlation isn't causation, but I think this was causation for me. So I had to just unfollow all that shit and just try to stop using my Instagram as much as possible. But it's only like it's not 100% of either. If I'm being real here, it's just a downsizing, and it definitely helped. Sometimes you can't exactly go like cold turkey, but downsizing always helps. And honestly, like for me, TikTok is just more annoying. Like sure, she's cute, but like TikTok is just so like viscerally annoying to me. Yeah,
it's. I don't know what it is. It's just, again, it's like that fast food kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's awesome. She's like this 21-year-old with a huge fat ass and like sitting on a boat. And yeah, it's just like all these, you could just get lost in that world, I guess.
Yeah. And like, that's not exactly what I would look at, just cause like, the baby face girls don't really do it for me. It's just like creepy, and I don't know. It's not okay. It's not even creepy.
You call me a creep?
I pretend that it's creepy. I just don't like girls with a baby face. I'm prejudiced, and I'm gonna own it. If you have any features that makes you look like you're young at all, I'm not about it.
So you like grandma face?
No, not granny face. I just like.
Does she have a baby face?
No, not quite. I just want you to look like maybe you had some jobs, not like, oh, this is my first job, Yeah. Like I want some life experience, or else I can't really have a conversation with them,
Yeah, it's just this chick lives a completely different life than anything that I would ever experience. She just travels around the world. And goes to like the fanciest hotels,
and everybody treats her especially nice.
Yeah, everyone treats her really nice, and she gets in her bathing suits and promotes her products, and that's like her life. And it's just like there's so many. If you're like an attractive woman, and I guess conversely, like dudes, it's like working out. It's like muscle pics and gym pics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like for chicks, it's like pretty easy. It's like, all right, if you're good looking, you just kind of like do some stuff and you get on, and then you get attention and people look at you, and that's, then you get sponsors and you just promote things, and there you go.
Yeah, but it's like,
there's your life.
I feel like it'd be a really unfulfilling life.
Sure. Yeah, but it's still a thing. It's still like, 36-year-old dude sitting in his bed at night, like before I'm going to bed, I'm just like scrolling on Instagram, and it's like, oh, like half-naked woman, half-naked young hot woman in like Greece. Oh, another one. Oh, interesting. Another one over here. Like,
oh yeah.
If we were hunter-gatherers, like, going out in the night every night, in the bush or whatever, like walking around, and we just saw naked women or like half naked women posing everywhere.
That there's a reason it's shooting off sparks.
We'd be like, oh, look at that, look at that.
Yeah,
you know,
that's why those fucking rituals existed with all the witches that dance around naked around the fire. You know, because it's fucking eye catching. You know. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do know that you do say you know a lot. That was a perfect example. I was paying attention there.
Yeah, I mean...
Play at home. Track how many times Matt says you know.
Oh, man, yeah.
You have to take a hit. You have to take a bump of ketamine every time.
You'd be out. No, man. Yeah, just take a hit of weed, something easy. You know, take a hit every time I say you know. Every time and I'll just talk about witches.
Every time he says you know, hit him with the flow that you got from the karate dojo when you were
going with the flow.
Fat Joe.
Dealing with the hoe. Dealing with the green on the back of the dro. Because I got the foe with the foes on the back of my dough.
Oh, he saved that one.
Dough. Oh, yeah.
Because I got the foe. Yeah, it's freestyling's hard.
Yeah, man, I'm out of practice. But,
yeah,
you know.
What'd you have for your segment?
For my segment, I was really thinking about people. You know, there's a lot of people who are experiencing like desperation on a level that they haven't experienced it lately. And so I think it'd be a good time to talk about scarcity in a different way, because a while ago, I came across this idea of how scarcity affects our brains. And if there's something like money or sex or love or food or like any of these like more basic things, you know, in your like, it was something that Maslow was kind of dancing around with Maslow's hierarchy pyramid. But if any of those things are like scarce in your life, then your brain basically just turns on this tunnel vision. You know, it goes into hunter-gatherer mode, and it's like, okay, we're short on this thing. We got to focus on getting this fucking thing. We can't fucking forget, you know? But, like, in the way that our society is, sometimes you're just like, okay, I'm just not going to have money for the next 18 months, and I'm just going to be living paycheck to paycheck. But then it causes people, like, against their like greatest will to like make seemingly unwise decisions when they're really in tunnel vision. And I also look at that with people who are sort of like desperate, like weird dudes who are like desperate to get laid. It's just because it's been like so scarce in their life that they just don't have that they just don't have. That's why I was laughing, because it was going around your foot. Yeah, it's like dudes that haven't had sex, people who like I had this one roommate in college who just didn't have a lot of friends, and like he just couldn't chill out and like not be a spaz, but it was just because he was in this scarcity mind frame where like human connection was just this scarce thing, and he was just like in a unconsolable panic to get it like against his will.
Yeah, because I mean, the way that our society is built around that. You know, it's like it forces that energy upon us. We're reacting to our environment. You know, our environment isn't conducive to supporting everybody, and you know, that makes certain people behave and react to that. And you know, I believe that everybody to us, like I'd be pretty certain or pretty confident to say that I believe that everyone has some kind of thing that is unfulfilled within them that they try and get fulfillment from by like self-soothing in other ways, whether it's like sex or porn or booze or drugs or gambling or, you know, gaming, whatever it is. Because we have, like, in order to survive, some people are willing to conform to the game rules and adapt and sacrifice parts of themselves to attain survival status in that particular, way of operating. And some people are just like, man, fuck that. Like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. And for those people, they just choose a different path.
Yeah. Well, what I noticed is like the most successful people are not the people that play by the game rules, but also not the people that say fuck all of it. It's the people that look at the game rules and they're like, okay, I can get around this one, I can't get around this one. And they're just like bending the rules as much as they can, but playing by some of them. Those are the people that really interest me, are the people that play by some of the rules and don't play by other rules, and they like pick and choose like really carefully.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, though, that it does provide it still provides a pressure. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you like the people that can handle that pressure and dance with that pressure. Because there's people that will collapse under that pressure, and then there's a lot of people that push through. Mm-hmm. They're doing whatever they can to just get through their day, get through their week. But yeah, they're too rigid. There's a lot going on inside of them.
Well, it's people that are like, oh, I have to do it this way because like this is the way it's supposed to be done. This is the way it's always been done. I have to do it this way.
But they're also the people that are just like, whatever you want me to do, like I'll do it just so I can, get moving and make money and just keep going and like, whatever I got to do.
I don't really know where I'm going. I'm just trying to like stay afloat. So just like tell me what you need me to do. Like if you're not making your own story, you're going to be a part of somebody else's.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're just going to be woven in as a little piece.
Right, but that's the environment that we live in, right? Like, there really is no place in our environment for just like the person that doesn't really do anything.
Or is there? I definitely used to live in an environment where there was a person that really didn't. There were people that didn't really do anything on different levels. But I guess you're right. They do have to contribute in some way because he did draw some really dope pictures.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's just what I'm like evoking is more of a tribal hunter-gatherer way of living. But in that way of living, it's like everything is really communal. So everybody has a role in doing something.
Yeah.
And it's just baked in. But there's also like there isn't this like intense pressure to
people are lost. Produce
and like compete necessarily.
Yeah, like especially with people whose needs are met, they really have this feeling of being lost. I grew up around a lot of rich people who were just completely lost because they had none of their effort had any meaning. Yeah. Right? All of their needs were completely met. Anything that they needed money for, it was there. Like they didn't even have to like, oh, I gotta work to get some money to go to this concert. Nope, it was fucking money to go, money to bring their friends, fucking. Yeah. So they were just fucking completely lost, and they would just go like they would kind of get like a little bit like aggressive and just like try to see what they could like fuck up just to see something like different that they might have to like work for, or I guess, or just they would just fuck it up just to see something different because everything just like worked out too easily for them, and it's kind of like it was like a detriment to them. So mm-hmm. I kind of like worry about people with like too much excess.
Well, that's where we are right now. I think we're in a world of too much excess. Like, I actually have a funny idea for a sketch that I want to do, and I'll run it by you guys. Like, I want to do this just like a really intense kind of almost Minority Report like camera view where it's like going around my head, and I have like iPads like everywhere and phones and like multiple headphones on my head, and like just like I got to consume all the information, got to stay up to date, got to do my own research, got to consume all the information, got to listen to all the podcasts, got to get where's the truth, 5D, consciousness, shaman's reality, this thing, lecture of the psychedelic, like there's so much information. There used to be this thing of like cyberspace, the information age, the World Wide Web. Like, I remember when all that stuff just came on. Like, I was like 13, and it's just like, it's not like a separate world anymore. It's not like a place that we like go to. It's just part of our lives. And there's so much out there that like we're not going to know it all. We're not going to get to it all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're, I think in a way, being like lured in like a sort of carrot on the stick, like this way, like this is where we're going, like, you know, come follow. And people are just like, yeah, cool. Like it looks awesome.
Right, and people are just being led into like spreading themselves like super thin, you know?
Yeah.
They take up all their
Just
like
always chasing the carrot.
yeah, they take up their mental bandwidth just like looking at 1,000 things,
Right.
and they can only put like, you know, 0.1% on each of them instead of like dealing with like 60 things, and you can put like more than 1% of your effort on that.
I do think that there should be like an opt-out type of package, and I think it's like basically something like a universal basic income type thing, but it would be like, okay, like for people who just really don't want to sort of like play the game, like, all right, we're gonna play a game of like starting companies and inventing things and selling stuff and making things and whatever, but for people who just kind of want to like chill and like play a little music and like write a little bit and like draw or like, you know, do some drugs and talk about it or whatever. Like there's going to be room for you guys. Like we're going to cut you a check. Here's like, you know, $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
And just be. And then we're going to keep rolling with what we're doing. And you guys just do whatever you're doing.
Right.
Know?
You got to even it out. You give them a floor that they can't fall below, but you also give them a
fall
ceiling.
beflow.
Yeah.
Well, that should be a word. Beflow.
Beflow.
I saw him. He beflowed me. He had a very beflowing attitude.
Oh, there was a quite.
You're gonna beflow me right to my face?
There was a quite beflow speech.
Yeah, it was a bit beflowed.
It was a bit over the beflow.
So you were saying you can't fall below?
They can't fall below a certain level. You know, you give them a basic income.
Yeah.
But you also give them a ceiling. You know, you got to even it out, and they can't go above a certain amount. You don't want somebody who's been like, you know, I get like it would prevent like the Kurt Cobains really.
Yeah. Once you make over like $75,000 or something like that, you go into you're out. You don't get basic income anymore.
Right.
So, but it's like. But that's it. Like some people are just like, hey, I'm good living like below that, like forever. I don't need anything. I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna create. I'm just gonna do stuff.
I just need food, and I'm gonna play the guitar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's Alan Watts used to say, a sane society leaves room for the outcasts. Mm-hmm. Like a perfectly healthy and sane society knows that there's value to be found in the people that say, all of you are just playing a game. Mm-hmm. You know, you're all just part of a game. This is just a game, and I choose not to participate in this game, and I'm outside of it. And there's value in that person's perspective. And so, like, a healthy, sane society goes, all right, we don't, like, agree with you, but we know that you're, like, a balance keeper. Mm-hmm. And so instead of, like, you know, this false checks and balances, Republicans and Democrats stuff, the real balance of power is in, you know, the people that are just like kind of that don't want to participate in the game and just want to create art and just want to do their own thing and not really like chase anything or hustle after anything. Give them the basic income, see what happens, and then go be off and play your game. Mm-hmm. So the insane society, the toxic society, is the one that we're living in now that says, oh, this person has to sleep on the streets and like go without food and money. Because
they didn't work hard enough.
Yeah,
they didn't make enough connections.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they're just an unfortunate soul, you know, part of God's plan, or you know, in the spiritual community. Well, they just weren't manifesting like higher vibrations and you know that bullshit.
Yeah, they're there to remind you to work hard.
Well, yeah, that's what George Carlin would say. He would say it's a big club and you ain't in it. The rich always get richer. The middle class are there, and then the poor are there to scare the shit out of the middle class to keep working, keep them at them jobs. Mm-hmm. Matt just went to go grab his Fosters. Fosters. Outside in Denver. We're here in Denver, and outside it's a bit nippy out there, mate. So we left a can of Fosters out there to get nice and freezing, so that when we come back in the podcast, we can crack a can of Fosters and chug it down like a real Aussie. That's Fosters, Australian, for I'm gonna fuck your wife. That's right. I got my wife fucking boy down at the fostersboy.com was what the website was there. Fostersboy.com. They bring 64 cans of Fosters, and you got a nice feller to tune your wife up there nice and tight. You missed my
nice accents.
You missed my Foster's bit.
No, I heard like 75% of it. I think you should put another one of those Zins in. You're really digging them.
Is it
I think
good?
you should, yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, if they weren't giving you any stomach aches, like you should do more.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you don't have to stop with that one. You can just pop another one in.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, folks, he's going for round 2. I'm going for round 2. He's just washing his good old mouth out. Good godly mouth where he speaks the good word of the Lord of the psilocybin psychedelic gospel of Saint McKenna. Good old Saint McKenna and Saint Watts. They teach us the good gospel.
Should we get into some more psychedelic oriented discussions?
Yeah, do you think the people want to hear about psychedelics more than they want to hear us talk about weird accents and depression?
I don't know.
I mean, you folks tell us right now, psychopathically, over the airwaves. Yeah. You folks, send your psychopathic airwaves through
telepathic, not psychopathic.
No, because it's psychological and it's telepathic. What are you going to call it? Telelogical? That sounds like a telephone that talks back to you. Who the hell would want a telephone that talks back?
I tell you, when my wife talks back, I hang up just like the telephone. She talk back, I hang her up. Last time she talked back to me, I said, "Boy, you're gone." Click. Well, Jen and I watched this movie the other night, and there were like characters in this movie that were like, I don't see people like that anymore. They were like just like
characters in the movie.
There were characters in the movie that were Can you believe it? It was a movie and there were characters in it.
Wow, so crazy.
It's so crazy.
So crazy.
Oh my god, it's so crazy.
What a strange concept. So anyway, tell me about these characters. These characters in this movie when you move around your American deep lip.
So it's just they were like a southern gritty kind of characters, and there was like a black blind preacher southern guy, and there's just like, and they go into a store and there's like a guy there and he's like, "Hey, welcome to my store." And you know, I don't see people like that anymore, really. Yeah. I don't know, I just feel like traveling is a part of that. Like I haven't really traveled. I don't think I've been out of the country since moving here, which is like I feel like I've been traveling outside of the country for like the last couple years, and yeah, and then I had to renew my passport, and this fucking bullshit comes up.
Yeah,
bureaucracy. This is the boring, like banal, evil and corrupting, soulless, vanilla, bland wafer cracker suck is bureaucracy, which is just like, I'm a psychedelic guy. I like give me color, give me life, give me, fun, party. When it comes to doing this like formal, I gotta like do this thing, and they want to print out these papers, and I gotta mail this thing, and it's gonna take 10 weeks. It's like, this is so antiquated,
Yeah.
And so anyway, there's that element of the boring, homogenized world that leads to. There's a great movie, Brazil. You all right?
I'm good. I'm just burping.
You went like. There's this great movie, Brazil, and in the movie it's a dystopian future, but the future is like, what if government and big corporations took over everything, but they sucked at it, and they weren't like efficient at it, they weren't good at it, and it was all like breaking down and like annoying. They go to a restaurant, and like in order to pay the bill, you have to like read like 1,000 pages of this, like sign all these waivers and forms, and like everything is like this huge bureaucratic mess, paperwork and managers, and it's just like, it's all this like overly controlled world that just kind of fails.
Yeah, like if you want to take a flight, you got to start the process like 150 days in advance.
Yeah, I feel like that's where we're headed now. If you want to go somewhere, you have to make reservations. You have to I'm going to a concert on Saturday. It's like, oh yeah, live music, but it's like we had to make it got postponed, and then we had to reserve a table, and there has to be 8 people to your table, and you have to wear your mask, and you have to go to the metal detector, the check-in, then this check-in, and then that check-in. And it's like, it kind of sucks the wild, free, fun thing out of it when everything's like controlled and organized, you know?
Yeah, it's like really weird. Like 50 years ago, you could be a ski bum. You could make like dirt money and just go around and just ski all the time, and it'd be like pretty cheap, and you had enough money to buy like weed and beer. And now, if you want to go skiing, it's like an expensive thing that like rich people do, and you also have to make a reservation because of COVID.
Yeah.
To just go at the ski hill, and like you have to like usually to make a reservation, you either have to like go there the day of and like hope that, or like the night before and like just hope that it's open, or you have to get like a season pass and like
So I feel like that we're not gonna go out of this way of living. Like I feel like everything that they said that they advertised in their advertising campaign for the new normal, you know, it's all this like the new normal, stay home, stay safe, like all that kind of stuff. And that's just going to be the way it is. And we're going to be kind of okay with it because we're going to have like, it's going to be like Brave New World kind of soma, like psychedelic therapies will get approved. And, you know, people just have like cool technology and VR and all kinds of cool stuff. And you'll just like hang out with people, you know, and that's pretty much it. I don't know how, you know, I'm sure there'll be ways that people can meet like virtually, and they'll have to make an appointment and check your medical history.
Well, think about it. Like, people are still going to be like people, and it's going to be like illegal to meet up with people. So then orgies are going to be like super huge. They're going to be like the pinnacle. Like,
so we're going to get back to that like taboo.
There's always going to be like a dirty
spirit.
Underground that wants to be like primal human. You know, there's always going to be that. So like, people are going to be getting together at like these like
Zion,
at these like parties where you can like be face to face with somebody and touch them, and then it's just going to evolve into orgies, you know? So I think we really just need to lean into the whole orgy thing to just realize our true human nature and, you know, be at peace with ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would really help us be at peace with ourselves and our human form, our big fleshy meat and water bag.
Yeah.
You know,
you'll probably have like porn that people will watch where it'll be like like a house party and like meeting new people and like bumping into people and drinking from other people's cups and like going upstairs with some chick, and then it's like, oh man, like this is awesome, like you know, because it gives you the vibe of like being at a party and being around people. Because that'll be the, and then porn always changes everything, so then more people will be like, I want to do that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be the new taboo. Like at one time, some dude's gonna call the cops on some girl for coming up to him and just sticking her tongue in his throat, and it's gonna ruin it for everybody. Yeah, you know, there's too many lawsuits. Yeah, we need to let a little bit of wild freedom happen. Like there needs to be some lawsuits for bad shit, but like we need to preserve some wild spaces for wild people to be free in a safe way with, you know, other people who want to be wild in a safe way.
Yeah, because I think we all have that like primal animal part of us that just wants to, you know, there's like this part of all of us that is like this savage, like just animal beast. Yeah, you know, and it's a little cruel sometimes, it's a little angry, sometimes it's a little overindulgent or hedonistic, you know, but really in expressed in its like true and healthy way and like balanced and lived in, it's just an accepted component that doesn't need to like be hidden away while everybody wears their masks when they go, literally and figuratively puts on their like costumes when they go to work and they become a different person. You know, it's like everybody's putting on a face to some degree.
Or taking off their face.
Yeah, really. But we would do much better if we were able to operate with all of our flaws, with all of our desires or urges, just like fully out in the open, and it'd be a more challenging environment, but it would be more real.
Yeah, I really have a harder time relating to people who I really thought that I was just like kind of like biased because I was part of like the weed culture, but after weed got legalized, I realized what it was. Like, if people don't smoke weed or cigarettes or drink alcohol or do some kind of drugs or really like sex or just have some kind of like vice, I have a hard time trusting them because I know they have some other vice.
They have something, yeah.
They've got something, and it's just they're just not
Like,
telling
hey, how
it
you
to
doing?
me.
I'm Bob.
I'm Bob. No, I don't smoke or drink.
Oh,
or do
no, I
drugs.
don't do any of that stuff.
Don't do any of that stuff. No, I just go to bed at 7:30 and I wake up at 7:30 and it keeps me feeling right.
Yeah, he's got a family in his freezer.
Yeah.
He's wearing their skin at night,
Yeah.
dancing around. Mm-hmm. Whatever happened to that? Serial killers. That used to be like a
They
thing.
went out of fashion. They
Yeah.
stopped killing.
I have this theory that like there's these fashions for things like terrorist attacks, school shootings, and serial killers and bombings. Like they all seem to go in trends. Like
What's
I
the
feel
new
like the
trend?
70s was like a big time for serial killers, and there's all these shows and things about serial killers from the 70s, and then there's like the bombers, and then there's the shooters, and
Yeah, 90s was bombers, 2000s was terrorists.
terrorists, and then the school shooters.
School
came
shooters,
at the end.
yeah, school shooters came from like mid 2000s to like recently. And
Oh
like,
yeah, well 99 Columbine.
yeah, 99 all the way up to fucking like I want to say 2020.
Yeah, and then mass shootings.
Mass shootings.
That went into
that was
that
2010s.
it like kept happening and kept happening.
that was the 2010s
Isn't that
era.
isn't it so weird though that they go and they move in these like trends? Like when was the last time you heard about a mass shooting? You know, I mean, like
It's been like
thankfully
3 or 4
there
years.
hasn't been any, but you know, of late, like recently now, it seems to be more about protests and like riots and that kind of thing, and that was kind of like the hot button thing like during the summer. And I remember since like what was it, Michael Brown in 2015 I think, or Trayvon Martin, like those incidents happened that sparked protests, and then there were riots and things like that, and that's been kind of like a theme going in our time as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
feel like that's kind of always been a theme, actually. Now that I think about it,
a lot of these are just regular themes, and this is just like how
But the other ones I was talking about were more because you didn't hear
cyclical?
about like they were more modern, like bombings, mass shootings, and school shootings are definitely a very new modern thing. You didn't really hear about that back in the day.
Yeah, it's just like how it's just the new ways. Like there's just some psycho person who is just just for whatever reason, and a lot of people just followed it, for however long. And
Yeah,
some new
copycat.
person came up with some original thing. But like whenever I was taking those like psychology classes or like sociology, they would say like hurt people. But it was I always wanted to ask the question like, hey, how come it's not a bunch of oppressed people committing all these acts of terror? How come it's like white dudes? Like how come it's supposedly the most privileged people in our society doing these acts of atrocity, to the most people?
Yeah.
Like why is it pretty much all dudes that look like me?
Well, I get-
going up and shooting up places.
I get the fact that like people are lonely, disconnected, detached, isolated, and they're therefore like stewing in your own like your pathological soup and getting all like lost in this world and spinning out of control and getting on meds and off meds and all kinds of different things like that, and then just getting like deranged and doing something, and then that just repeating. But I think it is weird, like, and now is also a time, it's pandemic time, it's like it's crisis time.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is when I was working for Target, like this is back to more like the shooters stuff. When I was working for Target, one of the most interesting things was that they put you on like this little video training seminar on the computer. Video number one was way higher production value than all the other videos. It was the shooter video. First video that they make you watch when you're when you're, you know, about to work for Target. It's the shooter video. And
what to do if there's a mass shooting.
And it was this really, like, you know, like the cinematography was fantastic.
Yeah. Roger Deakins on
so it's this shooter video with
Ridley
this like
Scott
dude
produced.
that looks just like me. I was wearing the exact same beanie at the time that I was watching. It was freaking
Is your
me out.
name Matt?
Yeah, so it was basically me.
Are you ready
just
to
like
save the
mean looking
day?
white dude, you know, but like, you know, tall and skinny and kind of handsome, you know, and fucking just coming in, and like these actors and actresses are looking like terrified, and it's like the active shooter video, and the rest of them are just like all like hokey little like.
And what did
halfway
it say? Did they
PowerPoint
give you like
presentations.
notes, like what to do?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, drop
dude,
to your knees, roll on the
like,
floor.
go to the back door and don't open it for anything and blah blah blah. But it was this really high budget video about.
That would have been great if they had like Sylvester Stallone came in. He's like, "Hey yo, I'm Sylvester Stallone. Thanks for watching the video, and make sure, don't be a Rambo out there, but do what the video tells you to do, okay?"
Yeah, dude, but it was just crazy. It was like all the rest of the videos were just these random like it was barely more than a PowerPoint presentation, and this one was this full on like film with like lighting and fucking like high definition shots of actresses making like terrified faces.
Yeah.
And like all this shit. And
Yeah.
like that's what our society is at now. We're like preparing employees of Target just in case there's a mass shooter. You know, they get,
Right.
that's in the standard training.
They get
for
that.
a
They
temp
get, like,
worker.
the
By the way,
COVID
I was a temp
protocol.
worker.
Yeah.
I was only hired for 3 months,
Right.
maybe
Yeah,
3 months.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
Maybe in the next 90 days, if there's a shooter at Target, we got to have you prepared.
the good thing would be that automation will take over, and you'll have the self-checkout things everywhere. You'll have really no employees in the store, maybe a couple. You'll have like video chat bots or something like that. Like
Yeah.
you'll have people working remotely. Like if you have a question, you just press a button and someone will appear on a screen. They'll help you out. You'll have like maybe like 5 people in the store, and you'll have like robots that deliver the stuff, and then they stack everything, and you know everything will just be automated, and it'll be a good thing because we will lose jobs. We should lose jobs, and then we should be able to just figure out a way to give people a means to survive and live, so they can create art, so that we can transform society.
Yeah.
So they could just take a bunch of psychedelics and just create a bunch of art and then transform society, and that'll happen over the course of like, you know, maybe 20, 30 years.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's a lot of people that are going to be like resistant to the idea for like giving people money for not doing anything. So we might have to start
We're
with
already
a
doing it.
compromise.
We're already doing it with the COVID relief bills and the stimulus. People
Hey,
see
I haven't got any fucking
people.
money. I haven't got a dime
Well,
from the government.
most people see how awesome it is to just have money deposited into your account, and it's like,
oh yeah, my brother refused jobs, plural, because he was getting money.
yeah. And maybe it'll be something that'll happen in the crypto community. Maybe crypto will take off, and the blockchain crypto community will figure out a way to like provide for artists.
I mean, maybe that'd be a cool thing to do, but they would have to contribute to their specific blockchain. You know, like there isn't. I guess I don't think there is a blockchain community, but like I see what you're getting at, like the crypto community.
Yeah, I'm just saying if that becomes more. If cryptocurrencies are more if they're exchanged by more people and it becomes more of a thing, then there could be a way that we could figure out a way to like, okay, like let's like bake in some kind of system here where like every crypto you buy like goes to supporting like a, you know, like someone who's just not someone who's not participating in the standard game. Whether they're an artist or not, there's someone that's discovering their art or whatever. They're just on their own time frame.
Yeah, but the U.S. government is not down with that. They're really sold
That's what
on
I'm
the
saying,
petrodollar.
though. That's what I'm saying is we have to. That's the only way I think that we have a future where we don't blow ourselves up. Is where we allow people to be supported until they can support themselves as just kind of aimless drifters, artists, writers, photographers, podcasters, just different kinds of people, and they're just doing something that's creative. And then what will happen is the more people that we have that are doing that will actually create industries where the thing that they're doing is valued. more.
Yeah, they're gonna
and
create
then
innovation.
People will be like, oh, and then it just shifts, because one of the things about the world is that everything that we see and interact with can be changed. Like, we've created all of this by participating in it.
Yeah.
And we can figure out new ways of doing it. So I think that one of the cool new ways of doing it, seeing where things are going with technology, because technology changes things, because it displaces human beings and the need for human beings to participate in the game that can be enabled by technology. You can't have like an AI bot draw something by an awesome artist and be like, oh wow, that's so unique to that style and that art, or made that music or whatever. It's like, we need people doing that, and I think that'll just be fucking better for everybody.
Yeah, okay, but just like, I do support universal basic income, but devil's advocate, like, what if you create some cult leaders? What if you take some
that'll
crazy
probably happen.
people?
Yeah. But you just have to let that shit happen, man. You just have to let it self-regulate, let it happen. It's basically just like, look, we have to start experimenting more. Science is all about experimentation, pushing the envelope. We need to experiment more. And if we can have any bit of freedom, it's the freedom to experiment more in a way where we're not thinking about surviving, but we can just be free to experiment. And the people that, there's so many people out there that they're working at like Target or Taco Bell or whatever, and they just don't want to be there and doing that, and they would much rather be doing something else, who knows what, but maybe they figure out something that's awesome, or maybe they just sit around and do drugs all day. But like, there's putting a price tag on a person's life and saying like, well, you're only worth something if you're like directly giving us something. I think there's that if we can get over that, then we can have the coolest technology, and we can do all we can colonize the galaxy, we can travel through space, we can have DMT portals on top of pyramids all throughout the world. We can do all that shit.
Yeah.
But I think we can only do it if we empower like all of the people that feel like their lives are hopeless and meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, but can we really...
We're going to solve it here tonight.
Or can we really empower all of them by just giving them like means? Because a lot of people feel empowered by just like, yeah, I'm working and I'm earning my means to live. I couldn't live.
I think that's
a
a facade, though. I think that's a facade. I think there's a deeper meaning that everybody wants to access, and I think that a lot of the times people make, I'm providing, and I'm like, providing is a means. Like, if you just want to like be like, hey, I just want to like live in this place, and like I have my own food and grow my own food and stuff, like take care of the lawn and whatnot, like that's still providing. You're being like a good neighbor, a good citizen, you're like helping people when they need help, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, as Randy from Trailer Park Boys said, maybe I'm just meant to get high and mow lawns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I really relate to Peter Gibbons from Office Space. That just like attitude of like, I don't care, like I don't want to do anything anymore. And it goes in waves for me. Like, I think most people would describe it as like a chronic depression, and maybe it is some, but I feel like it's more just a response to my environment. And sometimes I feel like participating in my environment a lot and like creating a lot of input and generating that out into the world.
Yeah.
And it's all output, everything's externalized. And I'm reaching out and I'm engaging and I'm participating. And then there's just a part of me that wants to just retreat and go back to like charging up and like not participating. And it's just like all inward and no output, just in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get like that too. I just don't want to like create anything. I just want to like play video games and just like, get like a little bit of food in, and just the stuff that like tastes good, and like nothing that actually like fills me
comfort
up.
And soothe and like take a break and detach. Like,
yeah,
it's like I've been in the Matrix for so long, and then I need to just unplug and like come back to Zion or the real world or whatever for a little bit just to get my bearings.
But you've been plugged in so long that you have to overdo it on the comfort, and you have to like
binge on the video games for like 8-12 hours, and you have to like eat fucking like deep fried, burritos covered in fucking sour cream, and then fucking like goddamn, chocolate and whatever else. I can't think of. Oh,
when I was living in the jungle, like when I was at the ayahuasca center that I worked at, that wouldn't happen. Like if someone wasn't like feeling good, maybe they wouldn't show up to dinner or something, but everybody would be like, "Oh, where's Anya? Where's that person? Like, where is that person? Oh, okay." And then maybe eventually that you see them or whatever, but like it's more of a group dynamic. Like if one element of the group is missing or something like that, like people are wanting to know about it, and if it needs care and attention, then there's care and attention that's taken. And that I feel like is the thing that's lacking in our current environment, where we're just like alone, isolated, and you're just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna fucking detach and unplug. I'll just like binge something on Netflix. I'll order some food.
I'll just pretend I'm doing something else.
That's what I do. Like I just zone out. Like I don't want to learn about anything. I don't want to know about anything. I just want to veg out and just like nosh on some stuff, get high.
Go into a different world.
Just like watch some stuff on YouTube, watch some comedy, watch some movies. And then I'll probably return and I'll be like more active and engaged and stuff. But there's just a part of me and I think it's that part that's like that deep animal primal desire to just be like, naked in your cave, like just eating something and then just like sleeping. And there's a time where I have to go out and I have to hunt and I have to get things. There's also a time where I just get to just be a slob and relax and just let it all go and not worry about anything. Bears hibernate.
Yeah, we're not designed for like the 40-hour work week.
No.
Like, there's a lot of misconceptions about like the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Like, I don't know. First of all, it like for modern hunter-gatherers, like modern day people that are alive right now, they work 15 to 20 hours a week to get everything that they need. Other than that, it's just free time to fuck about and do whatever the hell you want. We're working twice that, and some people can't even live on that. And second of all, when societies were originally created in the original society stories, whether you want to go with like the Indus Valley or the Tigris and the Euphrates or all that, those people,
classic social studies.
Those people were more susceptible to famine, and hunter-gatherer people didn't they weren't like forced into farming society by nature. They were forced into farming society by the original people that started farming and put up walls and started invading the hunter-gatherer lands. So they were like, fuck, these people are invading our lands, we got to put up some walls. So it was just pretty much the first farmers fucking with other people because they had bad system.
They had the big draw of the city life. Like, everything's provided here. You can get anything here. There's all kinds of food.
No,
we got
just
beer. We got Foster's, right?
It was the draw of a farm versus the wild.
Right, but then eventually when it turned into a city.
Well, no, even before the city, just farmers versus hunter-gatherers. Like the first farmers, they were worse off, but they were trying to conquer the people around them and just fuck them up because they knew they couldn't come back because they had walls,
Right, and then they band together, and there's like multiple farms all together, and it's like a little bit of a town.
Yeah, but
you got a little bit of a town there.
Yeah, you got a town with like a kingdom going on, but then there's one guy who's really rich and everybody else is really poor, and the one guy who's really rich is better off than the hunter-gatherers. But all those poor fuckers are worse off than the hunter-gatherers. And
I think all those like hunter-gatherers, those like invading hordes that the farmers are trying to protect ourselves, I think that represents the divide of our psyches in society.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that just want to like, this is my stuff, don't come near me, get your own, and then there's people that are just like, they represent that like the wild, no land is someone's land, all land is our land, like that kind of mentality. And it's that within us, within each of us, there's that conflict of wanting to be that like free wild savage, and then also wanting to be like that buttoned up person that's that's far from that, oh, how crude, like how, I have so much more. Look at all the things I have. Look at how I've dressed myself and cleaned myself. And it's like this aspiration to get, even in spiritual communities, like to ascend, to get to 5D consciousness or whatever, to like hit some kind of other plane, to go somewhere else, to sit atop everybody else, is really what it is. And that's not really what we want. We want more of a balance of the two.
Yeah.
We want, like, how can we balance that, like, okay, this is mine, but I also like to share kind of mentality.
Yeah. I mean, shit, like you hit it right on the head. Like, my perfect life would be like mostly camping, except I've got a bathroom with a bidet.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're not going to freeze and you're not going to overheat.
Right.
You're going to be good.
But
and
I do enjoy like being cold and like kind of having to like clench my muscles.
A little bit of uncomfort. That's what we're talking about here.
I do like
comfort
that.
Versus uncomfort.
You got to have the discomfort to appreciate the comfort.
You need a little bit of the discomfort, and a lot of the discomfort comes from soul-sucking jobs, and that provides a different kind of self-soothing comfort.
Yeah.
It's like, because you get crushed at a job that you hate, that you don't like going to, and then you have to soothe in other ways that is available to us in this society. So we have to sort of like recognize our flaws. I think we have to recognize our very animal, primal humanness, and be like, okay, that's a component in it. So like, let's stop trying to like accumulate everything in the world and just get to a certain point here. Foster's.
Yeah.
Australian for burps.
Yeah, we got to stop just trying to like accumulate a lot of stuff and really try to accumulate a lot of like interactions and experiences.
Yeah, cooperative experiences, collaborations, things like that.
Yeah, because it's really nice to get something, but it's nice on like a whole different level to like be with a person who's different and just like learn something and just like get a little glimpse in their point of view. It's like eating like sugar versus fucking getting it's like
getting it from a nice citrus fruit.
Yeah exactly. It's
eating
like
a mango versus eating like
it's like
Kit Kat.
it's like drinking a Pepsi versus having a nice cold beer.
I don't know. Some people like Pepsi.
I mean, yeah, but like, what if you want a beer? Sometimes you want a beer and they give you a Pepsi.
Then you're gonna freak out like Chris Farley.
Yeah.
You lied to me.
You lied to me.
You told me this was beer. All right, that was from the Farley sketch we watched earlier. All right, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Anything else we should talk about before we wrap up?
I think we should talk about how the
You're like, who invented God?
Who invented God?
Let's wrap up on that.
You guys just got to remember that your phones are listening to you. We were talking about Dominican Republic, and then we got an advertisement for Dominican Republic.
Matt was talking about traveling to the Dominican Republic, and then literally like a half an hour later, there's an ad on his phone for like, come to the Dominican Republic.
Use Signal.
There's no way for us to really avoid it, because
you got to use Signal and Wicker.
Even all of us that are like, oh, these phones are made with like slave labor, and they extract the minerals and elements out of Africa, and they're listening to us. We all still have them. We all still have the phones. Yeah, it's like Louis C.K.'s great bit where he's like, we can either have horses and carriages and be a little nicer to each other, or people can suffer immensely and we can have these things, so you can leave a negative comment on an Axl Rose video while you're taking a dump.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a great Louis C.K. the end bit of "Oh my God." I think it's of course, but maybe. Nice one.
Yeah, I know. We tend to reference Louis C.K. a lot. I honestly almost referenced Louis C.K. earlier.
All right, Matt's about to pass out in a drunken haze.
Listen,
we're gonna wrap this podcast up. Thanks for listening,
everyone.
You guys
are chilling. Appreciate you.
Was a little bit different than last week.
And thanks to Sheath Underwear.
Yeah, we don't have to promote them. It's a Patreon episode. But
okay.
But Sheath.
Listen, great. I'm wearing Sheath. I fucking love it.
Yeah, they're great. I love them too.
I can't go half a day without masturbating in them.
Thanks,
it's like
Sheath.
getting a hand job.
Yeah, they're gonna come out with a new pouch for your cum. in their Android
a 3-pouch version.
Android sex sheath pouch.
3-pouch sheath underwear. Fuck yeah. Later, kids.
Peace.